state of Maine has apparently become a breeding ground for Chinese illegal marijuana growth worth billions of dollars, according to a memo sent by members of Congress this week to the Department of Justice. There are allegedly about 270 suspected Chinese illegal marijuana grows within the state. Maine's congressional delegation wrote the letter to Attorney General Garland urging him to take action against these operations. This is part of a trend that we have brought you here at Newsmax, hitting other states as well. So far, no word from either Garland or the Department of Justice. To discuss, joining me now is Maine State House Minority Leader and Representative Billy Bob Faulkingham. And also joining us is Oklahoma State Senator Shane Jett. And back with us, our special guest, attorney and legal analyst Jonna Spilborn. All right, welcome to you all. Billy Bob, China, no doubt our biggest global political adversary, and now they're pushing drugs into our own communities. Maine officials wrote, quote, "These illegal growing operations are detrimental to Maine businesses that comply with state laws. We urge the Department of Justice to shut them down." Talk to us about this problem, what the state is doing, and what you want the federal government to do to help.
Yeah, I'm absolutely outraged that the Chinese Communist Party seems to be here making money off of illicit, illegal drug activity in my state. And, we live so far from the Mexican border, the southern border, that people in Maine have never really paid much attention to it. It's never been much of a election issue or anything like that. Well, now we're seeing firsthand how the southern border affects our state. And I can't think of a worse time to have Democrats in charge of our nation and in charge of our state with this type of stuff happening. And we have a governor and legislature here in Augusta that's encouraging people from other countries to come here to our state. It doesn't take a genius. I can get on YouTube and just watch some YouTubers on there standing at the border watching these people. They're literally walking across the border. They're coming from countries all over. Chinese nationals are coming across the border in the South, and they're setting up shop now here, apparently in Maine. And information is slow to come across, but I think this memo probably leaked by Border Patrol because they're looking for a lifeline.
Senator, you and I have discussed this before. It's a problem in the state of Oklahoma as well. I've heard it directly from farmers there as well, the Chinese buying up land and operating these illegal grows. Give us an update on where things stand there now.
So we're still struggling with the same issues. The article that you published about that they're going after blue states. What we see here is there's a systematic approach to try to turn a red state blue by bringing in criminal elements, disrupting our criminal justice system, and then bringing in illegals to operate in human trafficking, sex trafficking, illegal grow houses where they are flying out tons of marijuana. We've arrested over 200 people. We've shut down over 800 grow houses. We've captured 600,000 pounds of marijuana. And last year we had 4 Chinese nationals executed, and the perpetrator was picked up in Dade County, Florida. So this is systematic, is kind of like a Cold War era where they're pulling money out of our economy, but also doing sabotage across the state.
Yeah, well, they're doing damage to the people of this country, Jonna. Voters in the state of Maine, they chose to legalize marijuana, but it's but if it's happening in these 2 states and they're flying this stuff out there, it's likely going on elsewhere. I mean, we could be talking about a dozen states. Is there a blind spot here for federal law enforcement on this issue? Because it does not seem like they're engaging in either of these places to stop this.
Well, I never thought we'd see this level of Chinese involvement in our marijuana industry unless we started selling pot on Amazon. But the DOJ could shut this down. Why? Because we keep forgetting, even though we've legalized marijuana in several states, federally, it ain't legal.
Right.
So they should step in and do something about this. We don't need the Chinese mafia shaking down the states where it is legal and having to pay the Chinese government for something that our government has said we can do to get revenue and make it safer for the states that have enacted it.
But Billy Bob, why do you think the Chinese are getting involved in the illicit drug market here in the United States? Do you think that it's just pure effort to destabilize us?
Well, they see it's an easy target, and I don't understand why we're allowing our number one global enemy to buy up all this land in the United States. They're buying up the farmland in Oklahoma. They're buying land up here in Maine. Why are we allowing Chinese ownership of our land and then performing illegal activities like this? I intend to get to the bottom of this problem and introduce legislation to stop it here in Maine.
To that point, Senator, and real quick, are you seeing any federal action in Oklahoma, or are you taking any state action in the legislature to do this because the feds are not?
Currently, we have no faith in the White House. Everything they're doing seems to be destabilizing us economically. They're using the McGirt case to try to pit our Native American tribes against our state interests. So we're not looking for help from the federal government. Right now, we're looking internally to how we can address that. I introduced Senate Bill 904, which is to create an Oklahoma Commission on Chinese Foreign Influence in the state of Oklahoma. I've co-authored with Senator Bullard legislation to prohibit Chinese nationals from owning property in the Oklahoma. Senate Bill 955 introduced to make it a felony for any member of the Communist Party to own property. So we're doing legislative fixes because we don't have help coming from the White House.
And of course, you got to make sure that they're not buying the land through shell corporations through Americans and just funneling the money that way. We're going to continue to follow this because I think this is a bigger problem than even we know about now. State Representative Billy Bob Faulkingham and State Senator Shane Jett, and of course our special guest Jonna Spilbore. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me on, Tom.